So you want to start watching classic Doctor Who? Or maybe you're just a fan wanting to hear my opinion. I'm Brent from Two Kiwis and Cheese, and this is where I believe you should start watching classic Doctor Who. It's all just my opinion, of course, but with modern Doctor Who, usually people say start at the beginning.
I fancy a pizza.
Pizza. Pizza.
Or Chinese.
Pizza.
But with classic Doctor Who, I feel there are three ways. You can start at the beginning, which I find is the hardest, as the Doctor and Doctor Who has definitely changed in its 60-year history over time and with the times. I mean, it's brilliant. It's lovely. Some of my favourite stories are from 60s Doctor Who, like The Enemy of the World, with its 150-minute runtime. But long runtimes are a constant for classic Doctor Who, as they were serialised over weeks, a great difference from the 45-minute runtime for action-packed modern Who episodes. And that's just the thing. The stories become more and more action-packed generally as time goes on. The Doctors get younger and more energetic, and more like the variations on the Doctor we have today. There are also the special effects, and some of classic Who does feel a little dated. All I'm saying is that the 60s just might be too far of a leap for someone who enjoys modern Doctor Who. Because of these vast differences, that brings us to our second option. Watching classic Doctor Who at random points in time. This is a great suggestion for anyone wanting to be a time traveller. Jumping around randomly, selecting some of the top rated episodes or people's fan favourite episodes. It might be fun way to go. You can do this in several ways by finding the lore-heavy episodes that every Doctor Who fan should watch, or maybe just some episodes that really stick out for classic fans. This is a great option because you may not want to watch a 6-part storyline that you don't care about. You could do it where you watch Doctor by Doctor, and then get through all the episodes that way. Here's a list of some of my favourite stories that you don't need context for previously. You don't need to know the companions that well. You won't lack the feels if you don't watch previous stories. You may lack some feels, but it's not like this episode's been set up for a major plot development in the season or something like that. It's just some good standalone stories that you can get through just to enjoy classic Doctor Who. For the first Doctor, let's go with the Aztecs. The second, my favourite episode, Tomb of the Cybermen. Third, I'm going with Doctor Who and the Silurians. Fourth has to be City of Death. Fifth, let's go with Kinder. Sixth, Vengeance on Varos. He has a lot of lore-carrying episodes, so yeah. For seventh, The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. And I'm going to have to pick the TV movie for 8, unfortunately. Still waiting on that 8th Doctor miniseries. So say you're a completionist and want to watch it all in order, but don't want to start from the beginning. Which Doctor should you start with? Option 3. Starting from a particular Doctor and running from there. Let's run through all of the Doctors to find which starting point might work for you. If you want to get the full run through, the differences of special effects, Doctor characterization, feeling dated doesn't scare you, and you have the patience for longer run times, then I do recommend starting from the beginning, because the full story, starting from there, is fantastic. Otherwise, if this isn't for you, we will eliminate the 60s from the Doctor roster. Next up, because unless you want to watch every episode in a backwards order, then I don't think I can recommend starting at 8 or 7. I did myself start my classic Doctor Who watch that way, by starting with Survival and looking forward to the next episode, and then I found out that the show was cancelled after that episode. Looking at the rest of our Doctor roster, I'm going to eliminate 6, as even though he is a very divisive Doctor, this isn't why I'm eliminating him. It's actually because I really like that his Doctor is different from his previous incarnation, and without the 5th Doctor before him, I believe within the story this has less of an impact. I am also going to not recommend starting from the 5th Doctor, as I feel that as a watcher, his companions have great introductory stories that I think are quite important for this Doctor's run. and his first companions are actually introduced in the previous Doctor's season. Now we are down to the final two, the third Doctor and the fourth. So how do we decide how to eliminate one or the other? My decision comes down to what lacks from starting with the third Doctor that can be found within the fourth Doctor's era. The third Doctor has most of his stories set on Earth in the 70s after he is exiled there. This makes his stories lack the sense of exploration you will get when watching other Doctors travel through space and time. If this doesn't bother you, I do recommend that starting with the third Doctor is also a fantastic start, as his era is full of action, great relationships with his companions and villains, and amazing stories for being somewhat limited to Earth. Otherwise, that leaves us with just one option. The Champion. The Iconic. Who a lot of people think of when they think of a classic Doctor, Tom Baker's The Fourth Doctor.
Hello there!
This isn't just a game of eliminating the other Doctors, either. The Fourth Doctor's first season is a perfect introduction into classic Doctor Who. It has a lot of things that are familiar to someone who is used to modern Who, and it's full of exciting stories with returning and memorable villains. Robot introduces the audience to the Fourth Doctor perfectly, and doesn't waste time on his regeneration amnesia. It features Unit and Sarah Jane. Both should be familiar to a modern Who enjoyer. And it features a great villain in the form of a big clunky robot. The Ark in Space is a classic Doctor Who base under siege story. We have the Centauran Experiment, which is a fun short outdoors adventure. Genesis of the Daleks, which is arguably one of the best, not just classic, but best Doctor Who stories that gets constantly referenced in modern Doctor Who. And then we have Revenge of the Cybermen, which isn't the best end to this season, but it's still a lot of fun. And you've gotta love Cybermen, right? So that's where I believe you should start watching Doctor Who. Of course, that's just my opinion. So what's yours? Where do you think you should start Doctor Who? And what are your favourite stories for someone who wanted to try option 2 and watch them that way? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Brent, and this has been Two Kings and Cheese. See you next time.